Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
My
Yes.
name, my name is Alan Bogosian, and this is the September 29th meeting of the Concord Historical Commission. Again, my name is Alan Bogosian, and I ask the members who are attending this meeting to identify themselves and for the purpose of today's meeting. Michael?
I'm Michael Capizzi.
Melissa
Melissa?
Caulfield. Nancy Nelson.
And I think that's it. The meeting is officially called to order. We have a couple of things on our agenda. The first one is the Minuteman National Historical Park, and one of America's most endangered places. And I think Anna, you're here for the purpose of that. So I open the floor to you.
Thank you, Alan. So I did send along some of the answers to the questions that's on this that needs to be filled out for the letter of intent by the entity that will be nominating the park and its environs. In 2003, the park and its environs was listed on the 11 most endangered. And it was, very important to us, as it certainly helped us with publicity about the issue. But as you can see, we're facing a very, very dramatic proposal here to triple the private jet capacity at Hanscom Airport. The National Trust, one of the questions they ask you is what is the solution? And what would their nomination do to help us reach a solution for this? And I did send you the Federal Interagency Working Group MOU that President Clinton put in place in 2000. Nancy is very familiar with this, obviously, as being the former superintendent of the National Historical Park. So that was put in place with all good intention. But the next administration came in and it sort of fell on deaf ears. That's not to say that it has been terminated. It still exists. And later in 2010, 2012, we asked President Obama to try to re-engage this working group to try to see if they could actually reach an agreement about the goal and put in place permanent protections for the resources that are involved in the park and its environs. Ultimately, it was pushed down to we were asking for it to be convened on the very highest level, on the federal level, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So the National Trust actually reached out to us. Their 75th anniversary is coming up in 2024. And they asked, given that they knew of this new and dramatic threat, asked us to put forth a nomination. The nomination happens in two parts. One, the letter of intent goes in by 11 p.m. this evening. And I want to thank all of you for turning on a dime here, because we were notified about this potential just a few days ago. So again, thank you for meeting so quickly. It's due at 11 p.m. tonight, and then it will be reviewed by the National Trust. And then they will pick certain letters of intent and places to decide if they would request of you to do a longer nomination submission. And that would be in November, I believe. Anyhow, they're very well aware that the 250th is coming up for the national park and for the area. And they thought that this would be a really important time to revisit and to renominate the area if possible, so that we can get the proper light shed on what's happening. And after all of these decades of hard work, and Nancy can attest to that, that we might be able to put in some regulations and and limits to what can happen at this airport. It's the only airport in the country that abuts a national wildlife refuge and a national historical park. It is absolutely unique. And many people around the country and even around the world understand that. We just need to make some of our local representatives and perhaps some people at FAA and DOT recognize that too. So with that, I wanted to tell you that I sent over basically, some answers to the questions that are put on the form. There are word limits to each one, so it's kind of hard to, make sure you try to hit all of the points. I did go back and reference the 2003 nomination and tried to weave in some of the things that haven't changed and some of the things that have changed. Certainly the opening of Brister's Hill, the Cesar Robbins House move to the national parkland are all additions to what we wrote about in 2003, and they're very interested in histories that focus some attention on some minority populations, and that's important to underscore that the historic environs have actually increased around the area. So in addition to the answers to the questions that I sent you, we need to submit, or Alan needs to submit, as the fellow that's submitting this for the commission, photographs of some of the important places. And of course, Nancy would agree, and Simone sent me what she feels is the most iconic photo of the park. And of course, that's of the Minutemen. But we would have an opportunity to submit a few more photographs, and probably one of Walden, or two of the historic homes, and also a map of the area, which I'm working on, that puts in perspective the proximity of these sites to the airport and the runways. And so I can continue to work on that. And I said that to Melissa that I'll help out on all of this. And so I think it's a matter of taking a peek at the answers to the questions and how we proceed from there. But we have an 11 p.m. deadline this evening, and as I said, I will work on gathering all the photos, so that's all completed.
So it seems like things are moving very quickly between September, October, and November. And the government's going to make a decision if we're in the game or not.
Alan, are you referring to the MEPA process about?
Yes.
Yeah. What we think will probably happen, Alan, because this is such a complex proposal, is that we feel that most likely when the proponent comes back with their answers, the Secretary of Environmental Affairs is probably going to say that there are too many omissions and that they may have to go back to the drawing board. So even though some things will be submitted and then public comment will be opening again in the fall, our belief is that most likely this will drag on for quite a bit. And independent of whether or not there is an answer to this particular proposal, which is probably unlikely even by the beginning of the next year, it's going to take some time to get our federal partners to re-engage something like the working group to make sure this kind of thing either doesn't go through or something like it doesn't go through in the future. And I think that's the long-term goal of this nomination, Alan, and everyone, is to put in place permanent protections for this area so that we don't have to launch these kind of David versus Goliath conflicts and battles in the future. And so that's why this nomination, even if somehow this project is shelved, we need to make sure that these places are protected and that the negative impacts of this facility in the midst of the park are mitigated permanently.
we can open it up for discussion. Nancy?
Anna, it's so good to see you and so good to see the Federal Interagency Working Group. Brings back fond memories of effort. But I had a couple things if you want. I had a couple really small things maybe to add to your answers to the questions. You might include mention of the Battle Road Scenic Byway. And I can send you specific place, and the All-American Road. The section of Route 2A, which runs from 128 to Barrett's Mill Farm, all part of those designations. One is state and one is federal. So the All-American Road is a federal FHWA designation. And then the last thing, and the only last thing, this was amazing. I must have missed it, and I might have because my eyes were a little blurry this morning, where you cite the 600,000 visitors for Walden Pond. Do you want to include the 1 million or whatever the number is now, visitors for the park in that same, it might be elsewhere.
I think I have that in there, Nancy.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Do I not?
Well, I'm sure I missed it.
I'm pretty sure, Nancy, at one point we said 1.5 million.
Oh, it's not. Yeah,
The
they
park.
won't let the Park Service count people anymore.
Oh.
Oh, there were 4 million people at Obama's. Whatever. And only 500,000 for the next guy.
So
Okay, I'll take a look at that. I thought I had it in there, but I will take a look because, you know, again, you just go back and forth trying to make sure you make that 300 words, and you're popping things in and out.
yeah, she has, it's in there.
Do you see it?
Yes, I do. And it has
Oh, yeah,
written-
1 million visitors, host 1 million. Okay,
yeah, so that's there.
okay.
So
Thank you.
I guess I have a procedural question, Anna, to help you help Alan. If this the filling in of the application right now is on your computer, how can we help you complete it, I guess? Oh, well, first of all, Alan, maybe I should step back because you may want to have us take a vote on pursuing this, or I don't want to get ahead of things.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if Ann is I guess we have to I guess we do have to vote on this. We have to bring it up, and someone has to make a motion. That
Could I make a note that Mimi Graney has joined us? I think I've never really met Mimi, but I think she's our development and growth and person in the town.
Okay.
Hi, Mimi. Hi.
So I'm just sitting in because I heard you all were looking at for the designation for the Battle Road, and we're just kind of.
You went silent, Mimi.
Sorry, my microphone. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm the Economic Vitality Manager for the town. So working to support economic development, but also it's sort of a different spin on economic development, really looking at how it connects with arts and culture and the community that's here. So I heard about your efforts to consider the Battle Road as among the endangered historic assets, and was kind of just curious to getting up to speed and hearing your conversation.
Okay. Welcome. Welcome.
It's not just the Battle Road, it's the park. It's the Minuteman National Historical Park.
Right. It's everything from the Route 2A, Lincoln boundary into Concord. Yes.
And I'm just going to say that the effort that the Historical Commission is up to its ears in trying to protect Route 2A as it runs through the Battle Road unit of the national park is very much aligned with the concern about the growth that's being proposed now by Massport. And we have to also remember the 128 bridge replacement project, which is going to bring all kinds of changes to the eastern end of the park.
So actually, since you're there, Mimi, we have the next meeting about the 106 review of this project for Route 2A Battle Road is October 3rd. And if we could send you the link, perhaps you could sit in. This is something that the Historical Commission has been working on for what, I don't know, 3 years. We have stated in numerous letters our opposition to the plans, working with Simone at the National Park. And we've presented before the Board of Selectmen as well. So this is a big part of also of what Anna is proposing or encouraging us to propose right now to declare Minuteman one of the 11 most endangered, and Battle Road certainly is a part of it.
The bridge is new to me. That hadn't been on my radar.
It was a surprise. It was a surprise to the Battle Road Scenic Byway Committee too. Evidently, Lexington's been fully engaged. So, anyway, sorry.
It's a bit of an aside, yeah.
So I guess what I'm looking for is a motion that we as a committee adopt pursuing this the agenda. And so we can get moving on it.
Well, so I move that the Concord Historical Commission proceed to formally nominate Minuteman National Historical Park as one of America's 11, most endangered historic sites. That the right words?
Please.
Places.
Second.
Okay. So now we can pursue and see how we can
We need to
assist.
vote.
Need a
Oh,
vote.
vote.
Is there
Sorry.
usually discussion?
Sorry, Nancy. Do we have discussion? No discussion.
That's-
I think we're already there.
Let's
I
have
have
a
a
vote.
very small,
I think we're already there.
Let's have
Yeah.
a vote then. All in favor?
Ryan had a question.
I do, and it's not going to affect the vote, so I'm happy to vote first. But I only wanted to, well, first thank Anna. This is a tremendous, I know a lot of work has gone into this, and we're all very grateful and very supportive. And this is a great document. The only thing that I wondered is there any strategic benefit in perhaps working in, and I know you have word requirements, a brief mention of the Great American Outdoors Act, given that the American people now have demonstrably and recently invested in significant ways in the preservation of the park. I don't know that you necessarily want to tie it to the dollar figure that was put in there, but showing that Congress has demonstrated that they have significant skin in the game very recently means that it's not just a very local concern of ours, but this is now a thing of national concern that the people are invested in.
Yeah, $27.5 million.
Right. Ryan, you're absolutely right. And, we made that when we were approaching President Obama even years ago, talking about the very investment in the area. Yeah, we can certainly try. We can try to add, sorry.
Well, I have my dog, you have your cat.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's just, yeah, we can, and once, if Nancy wants to send her additions to on the road and those designations, let's see if I can weave that in. In addition, Ryan, if we do make the first cut in November, a more expansive,
More comprehensive
write-up can be submitted with all of this. Luckily, we have, there's a part of the nomination paper that says, have you spoken or connected with anyone at the trust? And of course, we have. And, there are some very, high up people that have been at the trust for a very, very long time. So, they're going to, make it very clear that this is a very important area. And well, anyhow, there'll be more to write ultimately, but we can try to sneak a couple of these things in if possible. It's it's so hard to work with 300 words.
I make a living
very,
working
very
around
great.
word limits, so yeah, I know what this is like. Yes.
Okay. There may be, actually, there are other sections where where I didn't use up the word limits, and I might be able to sneak that comment in under those sections. So I'm going to take a look.
Yeah.
But if you want to type up the verbiage for that,
I could try to put together a very
Ryan,
short
and
phrase.
see
Yeah.
if we can, put it in there. That would be great.
I'll do that too.
Right, so if you can do that, Nancy, and then I will work on pulling up the photos. Because of course you need to tell them who took the photo and if it's copyrighted or who has the permission to utilize it, all that stuff that you don't need to be bothered with. And the map, and try to piece this together. Now, Alan, right now I filled some things in on my computer. It has obviously it has a section saying who is nominating this. So that's what's going to matter, not necessarily what computer it comes in from, but the information that's submitted will have your name. And then one of the questions is, do you want your phone number or the phone number of, the commission, planning board, or planning department, what have you, for contact?
Well, we should probably talk about that with Anne, I think. Because I'm not quite sure how it would be handled. I don't have an issue with my giving my phone number out. I don't have a problem with that. But I just don't know what the proper procedure is for that.
Okay, and what about your email? Would that go, what we can?
Yeah,
we can-
my email is fine as well. Yeah, I don't have an
And
issue.
is that the RNC? Because Melissa gave me 2 emails.
RCN, the
RCN.
RCN. Yes, Alan
Okay.
Bogosian at RCN. Yes.
Okay, all right, good. So, so the process would be at this point for Nancy and Ryan to send me their additions, see if I can work that in, then ultimately I can send back to Nancy, Ryan, and to you, Alan, the final write-ups for these and plug it all into the online form.
Mhm.
And potentially with someone's help, I might be able to sort of PDF the whole online form. So you'll have a copy of
Mhm.
what it all looked like with the pictures and the map and things like that. Does that sound
It's
feasible?
acceptable to me. It's
Amazing, Anna.
Yeah, it's acceptable to me. So I also think we still, as a matter of formality, we still have to vote on this, right? Or are we still in the decision stages, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but Mimi, Anna, I don't have a problem with that. So
So to vote.
back to the voting.
Roll
Aye.
call.
Members,
Nancy Nelson, aye.
Melissa Solfield, aye.
Ryan?
Ryan, aye. Yeah, aye.
Alan Bogosian, aye.
There you go.
Unanimous.
Right. Okay,
Thank you
so
very much, everyone. I just want to reiterate that I truly appreciate, and so does the National Trust and Betsy Merritt, for you really, as I said, turning on a dime to do this so quickly. I mean, right within, minutes or hours of setting up the meeting and taking a vote. It was communicated to me that if a town
Oh, yeah.
entity were to nominate the park, it would be very meaningful. So thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you.
Anna, how do I get a hold of your number? Did you get my numbers or
Yeah, why don't I send you my,
okay,
Melissa
contact me.
has everything too. She can send it to you.
I'll
Okay.
send it to you.
Okay. And the other thing, Melissa, you can also include the Bogosian email on the.
Well, I think I gave Anna both. I honestly don't know which you prefer, so I never
Either
know.
or. It's either or. One.
Okay, so I would send both.
Yeah, both. Both. That way, I'm sure to get it.
All right, but Alan, I'm going to, for the form itself, I will use the
RCN.
RCN email.
Correct.
Okay, and then the last thing that you need to ask, maybe Anne or whatever, is whether or not I put your personal phone number in or the department. So you can let me know about that. And so as soon as I finish up, I'll get these things to you as soon as I can, well ahead of the 11 o'clock deadline. So
Lots of time.
yeah, again,
We'll get it
thanks so
processed.
much.
Okay. You're
Well,
very
thank
welcome.
you.
We look forward to this.
Yes.
Good luck to us.
Well, you, and thank you.
I think it can be.
Like old times, Anna, honestly, it would be nice to get something permanent.
Absolutely. We're getting too old for this. So I don't, it's been 20 years since the last major fight. There have been many skirmishes in between. But 20 years from now, I'm not sure we're all going to be ready to launch, the same level of opposition. But this time we're very heartened by the community opposition to this. As you're seeing actually with the Globe editorial, which was quite a brave move for Scott Lehigh to write this, given that John Henry of the Globe, owner,
Probably has a private jet.
yeah, he has multiple ones, and he and his wife fly them. So we were concerned that this editorial might get flagged and pushed to the side, but I think it's, people are coming out there and really recognizing that climate change is real. And the National Trust is very concerned about that too. When I said that there's quite a bit of opposition, but it has really focused on the climate as opposed to the historic sites at this point. And the National Trust said, we're very, very concerned with that issue too, as it does affect, all of our properties and landscapes. And so they wanted very much for it to be addressed in our nomination. So we did address it to an extent. And then they're asking for links, Alan, for media coverage on this issue. So I will be including links like today's Boston Globe editorial and the other Globe articles on WBUR Cognoscenti, and we even were mentioned on CNN. So we will be putting all those in so that the National Trust can see the kind of publicity already being generated on this issue. So, hopefully they feel like they'll be on the winning team eventually. So they'll want to join in on all of this.
This is exciting. This is going to be terrific.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. Yeah, this is awesome.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Bye.
Good to see you, Anna.
Wow.
Yeah, well, in just a few days, look what happened.
Yeah.
Just like the weather around here, just wait a few days.
I think it's unbelievable. So we have a couple hours to put this together and we'll get it done.
Yeah, so everybody got a copy, right, Alan? So you can see what Anna has already put together.
Yes. And that was sent out this morning. So
Okay.
and then what you made a couple of changes, I think.
Well, I know from my years working for Nancy that when always it's Minuteman National Historical Park or maybe Minuteman NHP, but you always need to include historical. So I was just being fussy about that.
Well, that's, I think it does say that like initially, and then for economy of words, I think maybe it was shortened for that reason.
Yeah, well, sometimes it was Minuteman Park, but I thought, so you could
several times.
So anyway, the other thing about the Great American Outdoors Act, I mean, that is currently $27.5 million, but we know it's been, I don't know how many millions since 1959. I don't know, Nancy, did we ever did an estimate of how much
Yeah, we did.
public investment?
I think probably for a similar effort. I'll try to find it.
But it's, and then if you put it into
this is the most important thing to say at this point in time, and it could just be Congress has recognized this area in this park with the investment of $27 million on behalf of the American people.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be that simple.
Yeah.
And I stand corrected, and if Anna used $1 capital M instead of spelling out 1 million, she'd save some space. And then it'd be easier for people like me to find. But the other thing to add, Battle Road Scenic Byway and the All-American Road, also easy. And the All-American Road is
Federal distinction.
Federal. And there's not very many of them. I think only Cape Cod.
In this state, you mean? Yeah.
There's one other. It's either Cape Cod or up north around Maine. I can look that up, but it doesn't matter for this.
Right. anything up north in Massachusetts, but I think as you go up the coast, it
In New
changes.
England, yeah.
I think in maybe is Route 1.
Yeah, that's right. It's not Maine, so it's Cape Cod.
Yeah, yeah.
Maine,
So-
I think, does have one. Sorry.
Yes. Okay, other business.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And maybe Anne, and maybe this is inappropriate, so Anne, correct me, but has anybody heard anything about what's going on at Wright Tavern?
I haven't personally.
I've heard rumors that they've basically gone back to the drawing board and things are becoming simpler and simpler. And hope is being held out for not a reproduced tavern, but functionally some kind of a tavern with beverage. And a Concord, more a focus on a Concord resource and Concord gathering place and simple meeting rooms. But
Does that
that's not at all official, that's a rumor.
Would that mean that maybe they're not going to play in the outside addition patio?
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps. One thing I was gonna do is check to see if HDC, well, and see if she can tell us. If HDC probably hasn't seen anything either.
No, they haven't received anything new. Their application was withdrawn and they haven't not resubmitted yet.
So it was, okay, yeah, they withdrew it without prejudice, but they can come back. But be nice if there was a nail in that. Okay.
Okay, any other business?
There was an interesting meeting the other night about the permanent memorial, so there might be a record. I know there are sometimes minutes from that group. Would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't know. Nancy and I were there. Anne was there.
Anne was there.
I don't know if any others, this is about, well, they had, they gave a sort of broad brush presentation. They are citing the work of Sasaki Associates, who are their consultants on this project. It does seem, I don't know, to me, Nancy speak for herself, like they have kind of narrowed it to honoring perhaps one person in Concord history. And I personally I object to that. I think this opportunity we have here is to honor a lot of the voices that have not been heard or not been prominently featured or recognized in Concord. The parcel we're talking about, which is 1693.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of an exercise for all of us to make comments. I don't know where it was going to go from there. I don't know, Nancy, if you have
There'll be another public meeting in January is what I heard, and they may meet separately in between now and then. So I think we should keep an eye on that. I'll try to keep people informed if I see it, and maybe Anne can give us a heads up if she sees it, but those notices might not be in Anne's portfolio. So everything else seems to be, but we'll keep an eye out on that because it's an interesting conversation, actually. Monuments and memorials are always incredibly complicated and difficult, and this is kind of a hurry up project at this point for anything to be done by 2025.
Right.
Well, again, they said it won't be done by 2025. They know that, but I think they hope to have a plan to present.
Yeah, I've heard that too, probably from you.
Well, that's what I've talked with Gary about this before. I think he's realistic and understands it won't get done. He also, whatever they come up with, they then have to raise the money. And that's going to be complicated because they also have to raise money for the whole Concord 250 initiative. So there are a lot of hurdles.
Simplicity would go a long way.
Also, I don't know if any of you have your phones. Senator Feinstein just passed away.
Oh wow.
Which
that's huge.
For those
former Californians.
California in a political stripe.
Wow.
It's
no, I didn't see that. Wow.
That's the problem with having your phone and your iPhone and every other feature sitting in your lap.
And getting it right and beeping and beeping.
You're like my undergraduates. I can always tell when something very big has happened in the world. Yes.
Oh,
So-
gosh, that's so true.
I would not, if I was a professor, I wouldn't allow them to bring it into class.
I have learned. I now ban electronic devices.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, for whatever good that does you.
Yeah. Could on a different note, could I just one other piece of old business, and since Anne is still online, last time I was at one of the meetings, we were discussing one of the plans about the witness houses. Has anything more been done on that? Has the 250th made any progress on that we know of?
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything on that.
The only thing that I can report is that we did submit an application to the Community Preservation Committee, and that was being considered.
Okay.
Is that what you meant? Or did you mean from the people from the subcommittee?
Actually, I wanted to know about both, and so it's good to hear.
Oh,
about
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Anne. So congratulations on getting that in, and good luck. But also, I didn't know if their independent plans had evolved to any.
I don't know what the subcommittee's done.
Did Faye Allen or Holly Kratsley, did they reach out to you, Ryan?
Faye did quite a while ago when it was in the earlier stages, but I haven't followed up since then.
I met with her too when we were talking about submitting the application, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that there is work we need to do even before the funding is in place. Hopefully it will be in place. But I just need to turn to that soon. And also, I guess I should report that the historic preservation plan will be starting up shortly. We've made a recommendation to Mass Historical, and they're considering it.
When you say make recommendation for the outfit that we would like to do the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
shared with you and with Alan, and we were in agreement to try to reject the low bidder based on their submittal that was sort of obscure and incomplete because it didn't address the particular goals or opportunities or challenges of Concord.
Yep.
But we need to get MHC approval before making the award.
Okay.
Good.
It was impressive. They were very impressive. The one that I think you forwarded to MHC. Very-
Yes, that one. Yep. So, if there's no other business, then I we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Moved.
And we
Second.
can-
Did you-
we can vote. You can vote on it.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye, everybody.
Have a nice
Aye.
day.
And